guys, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I am speaking with Tom and Daniel of RIOT Music. You guys are here for your headline tonight at Church Nightclub.
Correct.
What a wild fucking club that is. Have you guys ever been there before?
I think we've played there before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We played in Denver a few times. I think we played church once.
It's very cool.
It's fucking sick.
Yes.
It's really sick. We love it. Yeah. Also, Denver, bass capital. Like, you can't go wrong. And we're actually even more excited to be here because I think it's been a few years since we played Denver.
Wow. Okay.
Like, we last time we played Denver was before the pandemic.
Okay. So it's been a minute.
It's been a hot minute.
I feel like it took a while for everyone to come back in full force, but now they're back. And I've recently moved here from Florida, relocated. I played with you all in Florida before
at the Ritz.
At Ritz.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
But coming here, the scene and the audience and the crowd is just insane.
Yes.
Insane.
Yeah.
And
also, congrats to you on the move.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm much happier here. Yes, it's quite a big change. I love it. I got my winter snow tires. We're good to go.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning and I'm like, well, if this was any other place, I don't think the planes would land, but I think they're going to be okay here.
Mm-hmm.
It's and it's a short plane ride from LA, which is where you guys live.
Yeah, it's like a couple hours.
So easy. So easy. And that was very exciting too, moving out here, because it becomes a very easy trek to Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, LA, Las Vegas. It's like a hub, and just like for electronic music in general, I think like Florida is its own country, but it really pops off over in this region specifically. And I mean, you guys, not only have you been around forever and just like insane amounts of releases with Monster Cat and Dim Mak and Insomniac Records and collaborations and remixes and all of that. It's been crazy to watch you guys grow. And, we were just talking about Laura Sippy, and it's like you guys also came from another part of the world to come to LA to pursue music and do this full time.
Yes.
And it's very interesting to me to always talk about individuals and artists that come from other places in the world. And you guys are originally from Israel, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to know about how you guys got together. What is EDM music over there compared to here? How did you get here? Like, tell me about the origin of RIOT Dummies for 101.
The show today was brought to you by Vitaplur E-Boost Gum. With no pill to take or powders to mix, Vitaplur E-Boost Gum is a first-of-its-kind energy rave supplement that provides magnesium, electrolytes, and antioxidants while you chew. Vitaplur is the perfect complement to my active lifestyle, whether it's at the festival, on the road touring, or hitting the gym. Chew Vitaplur and dance with confidence. Use code LizzyJane for 10% off any order.
You want to take that one?
Let's take it. So I think, first of all, me and Daniel, we've met around 2011.
Okay.
That's when we pretty much really clicked, and we decided we want to open a project together. And we first launched RIOT back in 2012. I think it was January 1st, 2012. So we just celebrated 10 years for RIOT.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That's exciting. And the scene in Israel, I don't know, some people are aware, some people are not, but like pretty much the size of Israel is New Jersey, and that's it. That's all of Israel.
Okay.
So naturally the scene is, not as big. And also I feel like Israel specifically is way more influenced from the Europe stream of EDM, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of house.
So a lot of house, like Tomorrowland, like that's what we grew up on, right?
Yes.
In Israel as a scene. So definitely like house. I would say that house and techno in general, like is way bigger in Israel than bass music. But at the same time, like there is a very, very strong core of like bass fans over there.
Yeah.
Also,
So-
there was a time at 2010, 9-10, where a lot of artists from Europe came to play in Israel, in Tel Aviv. And that's when I kind of
Got into the scene.
discovered dubstep.
Okay. Like
And
what
that-
type of artists?
My first show was Flux Pavilion.
Okay. So like
2010.
Circus Records
Yeah.
guys.
That was like just the beginning of, I remember hearing, I believe it was Flux playing Scary Monsters.
Oh, okay.
Like for the first
okay.
times, that was 2010.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, but so back then there was something, like there were clubs, but not really for local artists anywhere to grow.
Yeah.
It's more bringing people from Europe, some from the US, artists and stuff. So
yeah, that's like, so we started to get rolling, we started to play shows in Israel. We also had our own like RIOT festival in Israel that we did like every 3 months or so.
Okay.
Which this is the place where we wanted to give stage to people that actually are producers. Because in Israel is like more, it's more like DJs.
I mean, I would argue that some markets here are very much so like that as well. I definitely, you guys have been in the game for a lot longer than I have. However, I remember early on, you know, when I just feel like bass music started to really ramp up like 6 years ago, a lot of it's the age-old DJ versus producer argument where, you know, they're both separate crafts that do intertwine in the Venn diagram, but, you know, to each their own in this specific lane. It is always important, in my own opinion, like at Ritz, when I was doing the talent buying for the locals who would open in the side room before people like you guys would play, it was like, get producers in here. Like we want to showcase the producers in the community that are actively releasing, actively putting in the time, actively honing their craft, because that's the only way that you're going to move up and on from that standpoint.
Exactly. So the idea was pretty much like providing the stage also for ourselves, but also for like up and coming artists in Israel. And then it got pretty much to the point that we felt like we hit the ceiling in Israel, that we pretty much played every festival that we can play. We played every city that we can play. We gathered like a pretty decent fan base. At that point, we also we started releasing music. We did some remix contests, which is also a great way, by the way, to put your name out there. And then we decided we want to make that move.
Yeah.
That was right after we won the Infected Mushroom.
Yes.
Contest.
Yes.
Remix
it was on
contest,
DMAC.
yeah.
It was Infected Mushroom and DMAC International Remix Contest.
Okay.
That kind of kicked it off.
Yeah. So we won that, and then we got in touch. So Infected Mushrooms, for those who don't know, are absolute legends.
OGs,
They're
legends.
Also Israeli.
They've been in the game forever now. So they also really helped us to acquire our artist visa, which is a whole pain of a process by itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it took us like pretty much a year and a half of back and forth and requests for evidence and sponsors and like a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
because you have to be like, isn't the term like an alien of extraordinary talent?
Exactly.
To prove that there is not someone here on this soil that can do what you two are doing, and how you're leaving an impact and doing this. And and then you still have to give away so much of your booking fee and so much of X, Y, and Z to keep that visa annually.
Yeah, every year.
Crazy. I mean, I remember coming back from COVID when like festivals were starting to pop up, and a lot of that Circus Records gang, like Dr. P, Funk Case, Flux Pavilion, they were like just waiting like an hour's difference to get that visa to be able to come over here.
Yeah.
It's such an effort, and I think so many fans don't understand the time and dedication and like the work that you have to get up to the point where like here you can build yourself in the local scene. You still have to be unique, you still have to do X, Y, and Z, but for you all to come from another part of the world and actively just step into this market, you already have to have such a high demand and such a high like branding, music, listenability, project establishment, so on and so forth.
Not even just that. Also, I think most people don't know, even after you pass that point and you acquire the artist visa and like, okay, it's happening. When you come here, you're technically not allowed to work in anything else other than your musical projects. So for up and coming producers, it's even 10 times harder.
You better have some money saved up.
We had decent amount of money saved up, and in 10 months it was all gone. you don't have.
We weren't very smart also.
Yeah, we were very smart.
First
Yeah,
year.
first apartment is like Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh yeah,
Um,
like let's
but-
go Melrose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that also, like, think about it. Like, you don't have credit. You don't have credit scores, so you need to pay like double deposits everywhere.
Mhm.
We had to pay $1,000 to AT&T just to give us a line
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Oh my gosh.
And then, you come here to make your dreams come true, and you come here to build something. But the thing is that we came here with nothing. We didn't have management. We didn't have agency. Like, we literally came here with absolute nothing. And it was very much like a struggle, especially also the fact that you can't work. Some artists, up and coming artists, like some have some family support, which is great.
I still work
But,
like
day job.
everyone I
Exactly.
know
Exactly.
until even once they're on large agencies, even once they're touring 3-4
Yeah.
days a week, especially now. I mean, you're just fighting to break even. If
Yeah.
you don't have another source of income, like Patreon has helped a lot. But again, it's like if I didn't have those extra few $100s coming in from
Mhm.
a part-time job, oh my God, no bills would be paid. Like
Yeah.
this wouldn't be paid. Like it would be a nightmare. So I can't imagine.
Yeah. Extra tough. Extra tough.
Was it like you were when you came over here? Was it, did you have to teach lessons? Were you guys like doing kind of like side jobs for like money? Like what? Like how did you guys sustain yourself once you got to that point where you were like,
I
okay,
can answer that question, but depends if the immigration services are going to see
oh,
that or
yeah,
not.
okay, yeah, no.
But-
We won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. Let's say
Yeah.
you just
Now we
made
have
it
a green
through.
card, though.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, we just got a green
Yeah.
card.
Okay, so tell me the difference.
So this is the thing. When it comes to artist visa, so you have two options: either a P1, which you can apply as a group,
Okay.
right? So that's what we did because
It's
if you
safer because if one doesn't get the O1, which is the other,
yeah,
then
all one
you're
you
in the
need
risk of one getting it, one not
getting
And
it.
like
Exactly.
with the P1, you apply as a group. So
Yeah.
if you get it, you both get it.
But the thing is, a P1 is only for 1 year,
Yeah.
and an O1 can go up to 3 years.
Okay.
P1 you can apply together. O1 you need to apply separately.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to take the chance that one of us is not going to be able to get in, so we
Mhm.
applied for a P1. The thing is that every year you need to renew it,
Yeah.
and then
Supply
even when you
evidence,
got
all that.
even when you get approved, they send you this letter, but then when you step outside of like United States, you need to go to the consul and then do an interview and then leave your passports. So they
So
put
we
like
would
the
go
new
to Canada
visa.
or Israel and just time it with like
Yeah.
the visa. It was super every
Wow.
year.
Yeah. But then at some point, like after 5 years of renewals that we've done here, so we moved here originally in June 2016.
Okay.
So after 5 years, we got to the point it was like, we out here, we're making money, we have a business, we're
Mhm.
paying taxes.
Mhm.
Like, I deserve a green card.
Oh, 100%.
I do.
Oh my God.
Which we didn't know how much pain in the ass process this is going to be, because that was even 10 times harder
I can't
than the
imagine.
artist visa.
Yeah.
Because now you get it's an artist green card as well. So everything that we had to prove as an artist visa, we had to prove 10 times more for the
Mhm.
green card. And also we didn't through the pandemic, it cost 5 times more each than what we used to pay. And then it took forever because of everything was delayed. So it took pretty much forever. I got to the point that I couldn't leave the state for 2 years to go visit my family
Mhm.
because my artist visa is expired. I don't have a green card, so I'm in a process. So legally, I can stay here in the United States, but as soon as I step out, I can't come back. So it was
That's
like couple
terrifying.
years.
Yeah.
So it's been couple years that like we couldn't leave
And
the
you just got
States,
it sorted.
and we just got it sorted.
Oh
And
my
basically, the difference between the two when you get the green card is
Mhm.
pretty much a citizen other than you can't vote.
God. Okay.
That's pretty much right.
Yes. Yes.
So you
pretty
can work
much.
at everywhere.
Also, that's for
you-
10 years.
and 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So a green card is for 10 years. And then technically after 5 years, you are allowed to apply for citizenship.
So
which
you
is for
guys
life.
are in the clear kind of now.
Now.
Yes. Congratulations. Oh my
It's-
goodness.
yeah.
That's such such an effort, and oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so now you can come and go. Do you receive like a social security number? Like how does
We
that work?
we received the social security back when we got the artist visa, but
Okay.
it's like it's a limited social security because we're technically only allowed to work under the RIOT umbrella
Mhm.
and nothing else. So that was that, and that the same social security stated that every time we renewed. Now that we got the green card, everything is pretty much the same. So we were able to build our credits, and so we were very smart from early on, which is
Amazing.
also something that I highly recommend to do.
Yeah.
Because in Israel, like the system in Israel, the economic in Israel, it works completely different.
Okay.
Like, for example, I'm a person, I don't like to owe anyone anything.
No.
Like, take my money.
Mhm.
Like, one payment, take my money, like debit. But here, in order to like higher your credit score, you need to owe money.
It's a push and
people.
pull game.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the
So-
subscription. It's the monthly payment. Are you making it on
Exactly.
time? 30% threshold, all
Credit
of that
cards,
stuff.
yeah.
It's a very tricky game. And I think most citizens of the United States still don't have it figured
Yeah.
out.
It took us a minute to wrap our head around
Yeah, it took us a few months,
Yeah.
but then after we understand how the game works, like we're starting to like put effort into that. So now that we have the green card and everything, so everything is coming with us. So
Absolutely. So
Like-
like if let's say Pixar or a video game company were to knock on your doors now, could you have a job with them? Say, hey, could we
Yes.
hire you guys as producers to do
Yes.
this game?
Yes.
Could do this. Okay.
not
That's
even
wow.
That's
awesome.
exciting. Yeah,
That's exciting.
That's exciting. So
Do you
we
know anyone in Pixar?
I actually went to school for Foley Sound. So
Oh, nice.
that was like my world before kind of hopping into this
Okay.
world.
That's
So
cool.
lots of like small independent films I've done like Foley Sound for, and I've done a few internships with
That's
bigger
cool.
studios and stuff. But that's very exciting. God,
Mhm.
what a journey to get there.
yeah.
And before you all left Israel, came here, were your families like, what the hell are you doing? Where was like the dynamic between like, okay, we're gonna support you, like this is crazy, but go for it.
By the time we kind of decided we were going to make the move,
Mm-hmm.
both our families knew we had something in our hands, I believe.
Okay.
Because of the success in Israel and the success of the music online, it was starting to work. And I think they saw that. Obviously, they were also very worried and, cautious about us making such a big move. But they were supportive.
Yeah, well, we're
overall.
very, very, very fortunate to
Yeah.
have like such a supportive
It's
family.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. And when you all, was it Infected Mushroom and their team that was like LA's the place to be, or did you just know that from working with labels and other colleagues? And
I think we're pretty much like knew that when it comes to like bass music back in 2016. And also the amount of like the international artists that already supported us. Everything pointed to LA.
yes.
Yeah.
When it comes to the agencies, when it comes to the record labels, like everything just like pointed to LA. So that's why we decided to move there, and we're still there until
Yeah.
this day.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like LA's you either love it or you fucking hate it. And it's
Yeah.
like nowhere in between. And
I mean, don't get me wrong. We were both like we grew up in Israel in the suburbs, like in
Okay.
a village. Like you
So
can
huge
see
culture.
cows like walking
There
down
you
the
go.
street,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then and the first time we left like our like hometown was all the way to like Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
So it was like very, very much shocking for us.
Wow.
Now
We don't care for it that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
we did move to the
we moved
valley.
to the valley, and
So much.
we like it way.
Yeah.
That's where to be. If I were to ever move out there, it would be like Burbank, Toluca Lake, north,
Yeah.
north kind
Yes.
of thing.
Exactly.
But there's just such an eclectic group of individuals there. Icon is there. You have a bunch of other production schools that have popped up,
Mhm.
since your move there. And,
Yeah.
and it's still, I believe, will always be the main hub, but it is very cool to watch places like Denver and Brooklyn and Miami and
Yeah.
Tampa and all of these places kind of really
Yeah.
build up their own
Austin.
communities and
Yeah.
actually have like large national touring acts move there. Exactly. Austin's a huge place too. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of that happened during the pandemic when a lot of people were
Yes.
just like,
Yeah.
hey, we want to be somewhere else. We're going to go try somewhere else. And it just started building from there.
Yeah.
And it's really wild to see how the internet and TikTok and content and everything has changed the way our industry ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
You know, when you all started producing Moved, it was, I feel like at that time, did you feel like it was majority just about the music? Or was it when you got to LA, you're like, we have a lot of other percentiles of the pizza to fill as far as building our team and building our photos and our brand and X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
I think the branding and the PR side and social media was always important, but it's nowadays it's a way bigger piece of the pie than it was back then.
Yeah.
Um,
Just is.
Also,
Yeah.
I remember when we first moved, it was very much, it's pretty much like we had like 30% of the pizza that
Yeah.
we wanted.
Yeah.
So we had no management, no agency. We wanted to like network. So like we tried to
Yeah.
go out as much as we possibly can. I remember we stand in line first time for Space Yacht.
Yeah.
And we stand in line for like 3 hours. We didn't even go in. Like we didn't.
Right.
So, and then a year or a couple of years later, we had our first headline show in LA with Space Yacht.
And I
Yeah.
remember one of our probably the key moments for me at least was in Space Yacht, where we recognized Johnny Joyride,
Yeah.
Okay.
and we kind of approached him and
Yeah.
said who we are, and he knew Riot. He like immediately,
He started naming our music catalog.
yeah, and we were like,
Like,
what?
off the
Like,
bat,
that
yeah.
didn't make sense to us at all. But then we became good friends with him, and you know that's what LA is good for.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
guess one of the things is everybody goes out into the same places, and everybody wants to get to know everybody to better themselves, and so it helped us a lot. The network.
Yeah. for
Yeah.
sure.
And the collaboration is so much of it. And I feel like if the music's there and the hard work's there and the craft's honed, that
Yeah.
like little percent of networking, that little percent of location, like
Yeah.
it does vastly help.
You can tell
and-
yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. And it's just like it's very crazy to look at content in the world it is in today. But I do really believe that the staple to longevity is still in the music.
Oh,
Like you have to have a solid project if you're going to stand the test of ever-changing algorithms, and TikTok may not be here in 5 years, and this
Yeah.
and this and this and this. And it's crazy to see, some people really pop off from TikTok, the mashups and this and that.
Mhm.
And some people who are now on these large agencies like have honed that content creation. But I do think for it to be long term, you still have to have that foreground of bricks with your music to keep the train moving.
Yeah.
And with your all's dynamic, like I know you guys said you kind of got to a point where you decided you wanted to start a project together before you moved to LA. Were you guys both producers in your own right? Were one of you better at one thing and one of you better at the other? Like, how does
Mhm.
your dynamic work as a duo? Because there's so many, national duos like Adventure Club and Barely Alive and X, Y, and Z that,
Yeah.
one writes, one tours, they both write, they both tour.
Yeah.
How does it work with you guys?
With us, it's so my background specifically. So I started as a DJ,
Okay.
and it started my bar mitzvah actually. So what I did is like we had like this meeting with the DJ before the event to like coordinate all the musical aspect, and he had his computer and was like starting to play and like doing mashups live and and I had my mind blown.
Yeah.
So instead of being a good Jew and take all the checks from my bar mitzvah and put it in the bank and
Mhm.
let it grow and then take it out in like 18 years from then, I decided to take all the checks and make my first investment. So I bought myself like secondhand DJ equipment.
Okay. Sweet.
And then I started my first business when I was 13.
That's it.
So yeah, I was like doing private events and I was doing all those like birthday parties and this and that. That's how it started for me.
Wedding DJs make a lot more than we do.
Oh, 100%.
What do you know?
100%.
Yes, he knows
I know
best.
that.
Yeah.
I got an offer. I got a big offer
Yeah.
before I moved here. And I decided that's what we want to do. Like, and Riot is like full
Yeah.
force on Riot. So yeah, we're definitely aware of that. So that's how it started for me. And then I was like I was a promoter just in order to get like the last 15 minutes of the night to play some tracks and stuff. And then I joined the army, and then we both served the army.
Wow,
It's mandatory
okay.
in Israel. So when you turn 18, you join the army.
3 years.
For 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And which was very hard.
You guys have a lot of life experience under your belt.
Yeah. Not very hard, specific. I think it's an amazing experience. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And also, not that we have a choice, but at the same time, for example, on my end, a lot of DJs didn't really serve the fields.
No.
So they had a getaway. So they would go to an office, have a day job, and continue being a DJ during the week and the weekends. I decided to not go that route. And I wanted to serve the fields.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I told myself, if music will be strong enough, and if you will still feel so strongly about it, you'll come back.
Yeah.
So that's what I did at the end of the 3 years. And at that point, I went to BPM college, and I learned Ableton.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the point where I felt that I want to take all the DJ experience that I have and take it to the next level and actually produce.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when my best friend Jordan told me about his cousin that is making crazy beats.
Yeah.
So that's how we met up. But tell a little bit about where you coming from.
So for me it was rock and metal from a young age.
Metalhead. Yeah. Was in a band for very many years. Yeah, I love it.
So I picked up the drums when I was about, 11 years old. Played throughout high school, bunch of bands. That's how I first downloaded a pirated version of Cubase to record my band in my parents' basement. And I remember working on the songs we recorded, in between songs, I would just try to make beats and see how it feels. And I kind of fell in love with just being the man behind the song and not just the drummer, writing the whole thing. And then I found out about dubstep. We went to shows in Tel Aviv, and that was it. The minute I heard
this is
that,
it. Yeah.
That's what I want to do and what I want to make. And then after the army, 21 years old, we started working together. Yeah. And so the clash of the two worlds, I guess, the more DJ side from Tom, because I never played a DJ show in my life. Maybe once, I think. And for my end, it was more the metal, the music theory, stuff like that.
Yeah, music in your bones forever. Yeah. I always tell somebody, if you know how to count to 4, you can DJ. and that's oh my gosh, I can't imagine that. Growing up serving, this is what we want to do, coming back to music. Yeah. And now when you guys work, do you guys still work? Do you work in Ableton? Yes, I assume. Or are you guys in FL?
We worked Cubase for very long.
Okay.
Switched to Ableton about a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Recently.
I've been telling him for a decade now.
Oh,
you need to move to Ableton. You need to move to Ableton.
Yeah,
it's Cubase.
You're all right.
I've tried everything. I've tried Cubase. I've tried Reason. I've tried Logic because I really liked Reason because same with you. I come from an instrument background. Yeah. It was very easy for me to visually understand and look at patch bays and say, okay, this is going here, this is going here. And everybody was like, why aren't you on Ableton? Why aren't you on Ableton? I did the demo. I was like, all right, I'm sold. I get it.
It's such a game changer. I was so worried because I had 9 years under my belt with Cubase.
Yeah.
And I was worried, starting over with a new DAW would take me 6 months to get used to.
Yeah.
It took me a week.
Yeah.
And you never looked back.
To forget about Cubase and produce the first RIOT song on Ableton in a week. I was like, wow, how did I do that so fast? It's just a very good intuitive software.
Oh, it's such a good workstation. Yeah. It's so it's very, I think I self-diagnosed myself with ADHD the other day because I drank 5 coffees and I just fell asleep on my studio desk. I tweeted about it and everyone was like, you guys have ADHD? I was like, probably. I'm wanting to do 1,000 things at the same time. Yeah. Laundry, sound design, cleaning something and doing whatever. And I can always get an idea down very quickly in Ableton, even if it's just something simple. And even with that stupid little phone app that they just released, where you can do the little MIDI and then connect it to your Ableton account, I think that's so cool too. But it's wild. I think every DAW is is the same with like a little bit of difference.
Right.
And so now you're in Ableton,
Yeah.
Ableton gang, 100%.
Mhm.
Do you guys, do you guys live together? Do you guys work on projects separately, send them back and forth? How does it work?
So the way that it started, back when we were in Israel, so Daniel had a studio in his house.
Okay.
So we had like a whole unit.
Awesome.
It didn't start as a unit. It was like a fucking
Yeah.
bedroom
It was a bedroom, like
slash studio. So
proper bedroom.
we had a
for-
bookshelf like studio.
Yeah.
That's how it started. And then we actually did our first like decent studio.
Mhm.
Like we paid for someone to treat the room.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
did this whole thing. We were definitely like Daniel was and will always be the lead force when it comes to the production.
Okay.
100%. And then that was back in Israel. And then when we moved here, we started as, like living together in 2-bedroom apartments.
Yeah, and we went back in terms of like the studio quality. Which
Yes.
is also a hard thing because the studio in Israel we spent some money on it and it sounded great.
And you get really used to like a very
Yeah.
well treated,
Yeah.
well groomed.
And then we went straight back to a bedroom. studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every place that we were, he always had the master bedroom,
Yeah.
like the big
Just to
bedroom.
have
So the
place to
studio
Yeah.
will be
Yeah.
in his room.
Yeah.
So I think the first year, like I said, we lived in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And it didn't take more than a year and lease to end to decide that we don't want to extend it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we moved to Koreatown, which
Okay.
was really
That's in
nice.
downtown,
Honestly,
right?
it's just
In
between
between.
Hollywood and downtown.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then we got like a bigger place for a more affordable price. We had like a nice penthouse. That was the first time that we had an actual room dedicated for the
For
studio. And yeah, I feel like
we did some DIY acoustics that still are in
Yeah.
the studio today.
yes,
So explain the DIY acoustics.
like we went to
Yeah,
Home
Home
Depot,
Depot.
we bought woods and we bought
2x4s.
insulation and like
Nailed them together. Rock wool insulation, fabric, a special kind of fabric. Wrap it over. Hope you
nowadays
don't-
it's way more accessible. Like
Yes.
But that was-
you can you can find people on
You can
like
find people
everywhere.
making stuff like
Yeah.
that, but still making it on your own. I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest.
now looking
Yeah.
back now.
Yeah.
No,
Buy
it took us fucking forever
Yeah.
and all those like wood chips
Yeah, and
inside your hands and stuff.
Yeah,
Like yeah. But it was
it was a fun.
it was a fun experience.
It's nice to sit in the studio knowing you had something physically done yourself
Yeah.
to kind of build it. It's I guess.
And
There's
I think after a couple of years in Koreatown, we moved to the valley for the first time.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
then like we moved from an apartment to a house, which is a completely different game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were able to like secure a really nice house. It
To
was
feel like home.
yes. So like it was and also we had like a decent studio. Daniel still lives there now.
Okay.
But I think pretty much a year and a half ago, my little brother actually moved to LA to live with me,
Oh wow.
which
Okay.
was amazing because like we're both very close to our families, and having family with you is
It's
something
rare.
that
Yes.
is very rare. So I moved out. I moved to Sherman Oaks. Like we're still 15 minutes away.
Okay.
But yeah. So the studio is still at Daniel's place.
Sweet.
Daniel is pretty much like in the studio from the second he wakes up to the second he goes to sleep.
Amazing.
That's why
I'm-
moving to a house was a big thing. Having the
Mhm.
backyard, the sun,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
that made a
Gives
big
you a
difference.
break.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I just speaking from my personal journey, like financial stress and also feeling like you don't have like anywhere to escape to have
Yeah.
like peace with yourself
Mm-hmm.
can like be detrimental when it comes to the writing process and
Yeah.
the creative process.
That was super tough for me. I remember in the apartments we lived in.
You got sick.
Yeah,
You got physically sick.
from like overworking myself, and also I remember like having my headphones on and working and still hearing the street, like the ambulances
Yep.
and everything.
The
Like,
helicopters.
it drove me nuts.
yeah.
Yeah.
We were so used to living in suburbs and all our lives.
Having like solitude.
Yeah.
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 city life wasn't really for me.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Huge
Or you.
culture shock.
Yeah.
It's nice to be
Sure.
like like I live in like a little bit of I live like 5 minutes away from, I would say, like in the city.
Okay.
And it's just nice to be close to it, but not
Yeah.
be in it.
Close enough that you
Yes.
Exactly.
can get there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I feel like living in the hills or in the valley or like north of LA is the way to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It's quite a journey. Whenever I speak to artists like on the podcast, it's always interesting to hear where they came from, where they are now. And, you know, you guys have had just some massive records over the course of like the RIOT project. Tell me about how you guys started to work with labels such as Monster Cat or Insomniacs, or I know you guys are really close with Monster Cat, so I would love to hear, you know, do you guys have a deal with them? Were you exclusively signed to them at one point? Like, how did that all work with you all?
To be honest, when it comes to the business side of the project, I think both me and Daniel agreed that at no point we will be exclusive with anyone.
Yeah.
It comes to our agency, it comes to our management, it comes to the record labels we work with. So every group of people that we work with, we worked on the understanding that they appreciate and believe in our products, and we deliver, you know, the goods for them.
Yeah.
So never we had like an exclusive deal with anyone. Masagat was definitely a label we always wanted to work with.
Yeah.
I remember our first original track that we did back in 2012, I think called Smoking Aces. Don't check it on YouTube. I remember Pegman Nerds commented on YouTube on the Apple that we did, and we're like, holy shit, this is huge. Because we're big fans of Pegman Nerds back in the day.
I mean, they're OGs too.
Yeah,
legends.
100%. And then we moved to LA. We started to get some traction. And I think they asked us to do a remix for them.
Yeah, for a band.
So
which was on Monster Cat.
Mm-hmm.
That was your introduction.
That was our ticket in, pretty much. And after that came our first original, Disorder.
Yeah, after the remix that did well, they were interested in like the single.
Yeah.
That started.
So that started the whole route. But with that being said, especially like in this day and age, like I wouldn't commit to one label hardcore
100%.
and try to like be more versatile.
Things don't work like that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Especially in electronic dance music.
Yeah.
Especially if you're, even if it's like a subsidiary or like a sister label, like underneath Sony or Universal or Warner, like they just, the Deadbeats and Disciples and they just work differently. There's no reason that you should have to, I would say in this stage and age, there's not enough being put on the table for you to exclusively take yourself off of it to be aware. And I think now too, like you guys have always done this in your discography where you haven't been like, oh, I'm just a rhythm act or I'm just a drum and bass act. You guys have expanded your genre versatility and so on and so forth. I think now more than ever, it is pertinent with like up and coming acts to be multi-versed and be open to, you know, learning and honing the craft of, you know, then just dubstep or just tech house or just XYZ.
I feel we're very lucky to have very, very open-minded fans, to be honest, because like you said, people like, it's kind of like it's two-sided because some artists put themselves in that box and then that's what they're expected to do.
Yeah.
But I feel that pretty early on, we've been very versatile. Like with the music that we put out, we started with Glitch Hop, which we talked about that we want to bring back.
Yeah, we kind of want
that would be cool.
Dive back into that.
So we did Glitch Hop. We did like melodic dubstep.
We did house.
We did
at
house.
The beginning.
Yeah,
we did a lot of all over, and it was. I think it was genuine. Like we truly wanted to explore those genres and find our sound.
I feel like it's a must, even, you know?
It wasn't like a kind of, let's see where we could grab the most views or, you know, or get most shows. It was really just us trying to figure out our sound. And what came out of it was really a love for all genres and kind of a need to explore every genre.
Yeah.
And nowadays we're a bit more focused on, like, I'd say drum and bass in the 170s, But also, like, we'll do like 3-4 tracks, 172, 174, and then go back to 160, 150, maybe 110. I don't know.
140.
Yeah, 140. We did that not so long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so right though, where it's kind of how you choose to establish yourself. Like if you're just gonna be releasing 150 F minor for the first 3 years of 4
We have
years,
a few of those.
you know, but that's okay to sprinkle in there. But then that's the fan base you attract. So if you turn around and say, okay, well now I'm gonna do halftime or I'm gonna do bass house,
out of nowhere.
it's kind of like, okay, well where did this come from? And we didn't know you had this, and it didn't come out with any, you know, rollout or X, Y, and Z. It can be confusing to just a general consumer.
Yeah.
But like you all, I look at people like Nitty Gritty, I look at people like that are just all over the board. I do feel like you curate much more understanding fan bases. And I think it sometimes takes a little bit longer to get like your feet off the ground when you're not just doing one specific type of music or working with one specific label that's putting you in all their freaking events, and then you're still not making any money. But once you know you do get established, it's cool because you kind of pick people from every circle and have that base that grows, and that always kind of just like serves for a really fun fan community. And I feel like you guys have really built up such a strong community over time. You know, what would you attest to building that community? Would you say it's Discord and Facebook groups, or like fan meetups, or you know, making unique experiences for your followers?
Yeah, I feel that like also we touched it a little bit like 30 minutes ago or so. Like in this day and age, like the presence on social media and how much like you're open the door for fans to see like the behind the scenes,
the real you,
the real you, and also the process and the hardships you're going through as an act. I feel that this is something that can be very relatable. But like from an artist point of view, who started 10 or more years ago, like I would say that definitely like explore, don't try to mock something that works, but other than that, insist on going deep down and do what you like, and don't be afraid to fail as well. That's how you get somewhere, and that's, I feel like, how like we got like the sound signature that we have. Like we got to the point, I feel that it's also in general, it's very hard to have a sound signature, especially in the EDM and the bass scene. And like we got to the point that, like, you know, if you go on an 1001 track list and you see IDs, like people already guessed that an unreleased song that is ID is by RIOT. Which is like, when we saw that was super cool to see.
It's hard to see that from the driver's seat sometimes.
Yes.
You know? Like sometimes it's easier for people from the outside to see and let you know. Because I remember a lot of artists also told us that they instantly recognize our music. Like it was kind of shocking to hear.
I think that's always, it's such a mental game because you're always kind of focusing on what can we do better here? What can we focus on next? And you'll have so many people, whether it's friends or significant others, be like, no, like you're actually doing it. People
and
are recognizing you, and you're like, really? Are they?
You're supposed to love me, so I don't know if I trust you.
Exactly. And it's hard to take a step outwards when you care so deeply about something and like have so much invested, especially in both of your circumstances, where it's like we have to do this kind of thing. To take a step back and be like, okay, like we're doing it, we're okay. Like everybody take chill pill.
But still, there are a lot of hardships, especially like in the past couple of years with all the pandemic.
And I think in the pandemic, that fourth wall was really broken down when you saw people doing DJ sets and Twitch streams in their bedroom, or, you know, they started doing the reels and the TikToks, and it's like, it's not just David Guetta anymore standing next to a Ferrari on top of like a fucking skyrocket building, whatever. And it's like, okay, these people are actually going through stuff too, just like I am. And we're all humans. And ever since I felt like that table kind of turned, it's okay, how can I get to know you more? How can I relate to you more? And while I do think that can become tasking, because I've spoken to a ton of artists that do like having that, this is RIOT and then this is my personal life separated. We are in a time where I feel like the more you're opening up, the more you're seeing people outwardly relate to you.
Yeah.
And
100%.
you know, it's all a mental fortitude game.
The two should be intertwined, I believe. And we've been getting better at that. Actually, we started live streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
we open a Discord.
We started being more
I love Discord.
available. Like we post more on socials.
I'll tell you what, especially for us, first of all, we're not young.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're not young.
I don't even feel young. Like with
Um,
the TikTok was so hard to like
Yeah.
get on board.
So
with
yeah,
for
we're
me.
both 1990.
Yeah.
Both of
For
us.
me, it was like artists growing up. Like I knew them through CD covers. Like I didn't want to know what Kurt Cobain thinks politically. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to know who you are. I just
Yeah.
want to hear your music.
Yep.
So for me, like doing the whole social media thing,
adapting for us
Don't like it.
specifically, it's something
but you have to do it. Yeah.
you have to do it, and we are like as we go, we get better at it. But like for us specifically, not growing up in this generation, is I feel that it's especially hard. But the thing is, like, it's not that we don't do it because we think like that's below us or anything.
know.
It's just like it feels so awkward for
It
us to
does.
do certain things that for some other artists
Comes
come so
naturally.
natural, you know. But that's all right. We're
I mean,
working on
I'm
it.
the same way, and it's like when I'm like really creative, the last thing I want to think about is like, let me get out my phone and record what I
Yeah.
just did.
Yeah.
Like it's like, no, like this is my space. I have my candles lit, my phone's in the other room, or I'm watching Netflix and I don't want to fucking stop watching
Yeah.
Netflix and doing sound design to take this video of me when I just woke up and I've got a hoodie on. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's definitely something that is like adaptation. I've talked to like even bands that kind of went through the whole CD and record to streaming era, and they very much so compared now to that point in time where it's gone from like really big labels like Capitol Records and Warner Music, you know, got to make it viral on TikTok. This is how you do it. And it's a huge adaptation even for people in their mid 20s that weren't, you know, not 18, 19, 20, 21. And they're like, this is it. Like, cause like my, you know, boyfriend's little sisters, you know, they're not on Instagram. They're on TikTok. They're all on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's just something that is part of the job.
Yeah.
If you want to continue to adapt and grow. And I'm sure before the end of our time and our career lifespans, something else will happen that we'll have to adapt to.
For sure.
But the downside is just less time for creativity,
Yeah.
right? And making music, and quality
Yes.
is what is it's at the expense of quality.
Yeah.
And as long as you make sure to keep a healthy balance of the quality and the quantity, the posts on social media.
Yeah.
Especially in
And
electronic music,
Yeah.
like you're expected to write so quickly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that people don't know that writing a bass tune probably take 10 times more than writing a pop hit that is being played all over the world. So yeah, I feel that the attention span of the fans like getting like smaller and smaller and smaller. I do start to see like artists do bring up this dialogue online about like the day and age that we live in, and like some artists are so frustrated, like you said, that record labels demand them to like create hype in order to schedule a release. That's, for me, it's like absolutely
insane.
crazy.
It's backwards.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
But like you said, like that's the reality. We do need to adapt and grow, but adapt in a way that we do feel comfortable with.
Yes, you have to be healthy. Like you
Yeah.
have to be healthy
Right.
about it, or it's gonna make you just in a really bad headspace, and you're not gonna be creating at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want us to sound disparaging to any up and coming artists out there. If you become undeniable with your craft, your music, you can make it even without social media.
Yes,
I'm certain at that still.
I am too. I
Uh,
am too.
But social media helps.
Social media definitely helps. I mean, it's this love-hate thing, I
Right.
think, because it
Right.
allows everyone from every corner of the world to see you and discover you. And, you know, it's crazy when you go on Spotify and you see this country in South Africa, you know, listening, or this country, you know, and Canada or Iceland or Switzerland or whatever, listening to your stuff, and you're like, wow, like I've never been there,
That's
I've never
crazy.
toured there. Crazy. Would never happen without the internet.
Right.
Other side of it is, in this day and age, attention spans are so short. I can't wait until I make enough money to hire someone to make the fucking podcast clips. But the only way I bring people into the podcast is by the 10-second clips, the 15-second clips, where you're talking about this, and then somebody goes, oh, wow, that's cool. Where can I listen to that? Because we've turned into a point where it's gone from books to TV and films to YouTube to vlogs to TikToks to Reels. And it's gone from days and hours to half an hour to 15 minutes to 10 minutes to 5 minutes to 15 seconds.
It's crazy.
And you have to grab their attention span like this. It's really like a first impression every time you post.
Yeah.
Like, what can I impression on you to be interested in me, and like have a call to action to actually go and listen to my fucking song, and actually go and listen to this. And it translates into touring. It translates into everything. And, you know, there is a direct correlation with streaming and TikTok. It's you listen to that, the Running Down the Hill song or whatever that was in Stranger Things, and it popped up, and now she's made like 400, 500K off that Stranger Things popping off on TikTok with her song. And it's like, it's crazy. It's cool. It's awesome. But it's also just a huge kind of like slap in the face for people who are not necessarily set in their ways. It's just like that content creation, that form of content creation, and what we do does not go hand in hand.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It just doesn't. But it's important to talk about this too, because this is why I have this, where like a ton of listeners are, you know, wanting to do this in any way, shape, and form. And these are the conversations that people have behind closed doors that they're frustrated with, or things that they, you know, wish to improve on, and all of that stuff. And I think it's just adaptation and time that will make it more regularized. But, you know, I know you guys have been releasing. Are you guys working on anything exciting coming up that you can kind of tease to us before I let you guys go?
Yeah, well, we have, I guess, a lot of stuff coming up soon.
Like EP, album, just single.
Honestly, we actually had, for the past few months, very exciting things. Like for us, like we sort of like relaunched the RIOT project with a 10 years mark for RIOT.
Yep.
So we did like a little like documentary, some sort of things that we launched that I will recommend to watch, because
I'm gonna link
actually shows how the project started.
Yeah, everything
what
we
we've
talked
been
about,
through.
Israel, and
It's pretty much 3 reels of 60 seconds.
Amazing.
So,
oh my God,
short,
amazing. Okay.
So we did that, and then after that, we released an EP with Bass Rush. We never worked with Bass Rush before, so it was very exciting for us. So that was Shang, Sharpshooter, and Back Twister. Back Twister. Yeah, we did a remix for Reaper. We also we did like a little of a switch in like the creative direction of like the music and the art that Daniel took the lead on 100%.
I felt like the 150 F minor, like you said, high energy RIOT drops started to feel like a formula for me producing those. They were still fun to make, but I just felt like I was stuck in this sort of loop, making the same thing over and over. And so we just talked between us and figured like a new direction that could be cool. And that's when we came up with like the hip hop. I always really loved orchestral music, and it's apparent through our albums and through Dogma Resistance and everything. So we talked about bringing that together with hip hop, some of the metal elements, and bass music, obviously. But then came the discussion over like the dubstep part of it, I guess. We decided to go sort of polar opposite, like more minimal, sparse, and not so high energy. And it's been working. I'm surprised.
Well, people love that right now.
Yeah.
You know, the whole Wakan, deeper kind of stuff. And, you know, you guys had stated you're working on like more drum and bass orientated content. And it's like that, I mean, in the last year, to see what has happened in the States with drum and bass is fucking insane.
Yeah. Actually, Slender just dropped the drum and bass tune at Red Rocks last week.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's cool. Also, shout out Slender.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like they're being so like both Slender and Nightmare and the Good Vibration family have been also
You
so
guys have worked a ton with
supportive.
them.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
supportive since our early days. And great people
Yes.
in
We
general.
really like those guys. They're very, very good people.
So yeah, we have drum and bass that was teased at Red Rocks last week. So if you heard it, that's us.
They had a massive drum and bass party at church too. Brownies and Lemonade. They were all
Last
there out
week.
there.
Last
Yeah,
week. Yeah, I
right
saw.
after the
That looked
Slander show.
insane.
It's good. It was
That looked
Night Punk,
crazy.
1780 L was
Delta
there.
Heavy.
Delta Heavy. I
Yeah.
think Dimension popped through. Like
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we just released the show that we have today is like we're celebrating our latest release, Buckshots, with Deadbeats.
okay. Yes.
Deadbeats is also a label that we wanted to work with for the longest time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And we just needed to hit the right tune. And Buckshots was it. And also, I think we just released it, but Zed's Dad played it at Red Rocks.
July 3rd and 4th, the weekend.
Yes.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
months and months and months ago.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that was
The Deadbeats release calendar is literally like,
Yeah.
we'll see you in 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's too. Shout out Harrison.
Yeah, Harrison's the
but-
shit. Harrison's the shit.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's something that we're very excited on, like to become also a part of the Deadbeats family. So also like our fans like witnessed that, but like what also we did like, in the past couple of years, like we expanded because we worked like with Monster Cat so much. And then like we started working with Good Vibration. Then we did Welcome Records. And now we did Bass Rush. And now we're doing Deadbeats.
That's what you want to do,
So-
though. You want to spread all the marbles
Mhm.
across. You
Exactly,
don't want to
yeah.
put them in one basket because
Yeah.
that can go like goodbye.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, it's amazing. It's crazy to see. I mean, you guys have always, since I would say even like a decade ago, have released with like wonderful labels. But
Mhm.
to build over time and to really be able to be like, to hear a song and know where to pitch it and know it's going to be
Mhm.
accepted, like that's a power in itself and like a testament to like growth of the project.
Yeah.
I have one more question before you guys go. So how'd you come up with the name Riot? Tell me about the name.
man.
It's okay if it's a really stupid story. I've heard probably stupider stories.
Do you remember what I suggested before, right? Magnum.
Yeah.
Magnum.
You said Magnum and I said Riot, I think.
It's like
It was more than that. Yeah.
yeah, going back, don't do it. Like
Don't
do
do it.
your homework
Do your-
before you choose.
Yeah.
a
This
name.
is one thing. I wish we have chosen a different name.
Yeah.
100%.
Invented a name up, right? Way better. But
Yeah.
It's like I'll be honest with you, when we came up with a name, that was 2011, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So in 2011, we weren't really we heard about Virtual Riot, but not so much. We didn't even know about Riot 10 back then.
yeah. I don't think he
and
was like on the board yet.
And the thing is that what we thought, like with the name Riot, is we wanted like to choose a name that pretty much described
It
the
describes
music,
your music.
the music that we produce and the live shows that we put on.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Riot was just like such a great fit.
And that's
And
perfect.
we thought like that's amazing, but
yeah, we didn't
no.
think
It's hard.
it's
Riot's
so
like-
hard. It's
Yeah.
just like,
Like, let's
it's
start
so
a riot.
general.
Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
We're
I
young.
totally get it.
we
I
were
totally
young, we
get it.
couldn't see the big picture of like how would it come up on Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't think like that at all.
But I feel
Yeah.
like it does match your music 100%.
Yeah.
The metal, the dubstep, the drum and bass, the halftime.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like dubstep shows are a riot. Like
Yeah.
they are. They always
Like
are.
let's start a riot. So we had so many things that we can play on, but at the same time, like if I have something that I can recommend, like up and coming producer or someone who's even
Homework.
thinking about taking that path, like make something, like made up something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like just like
original.
Especially
Original.
in like the dubstep niche. scene.
exactly
100%. Or spell it weird or do X, Y, and Z.
Skrillex. You can't
Yeah.
go wrong.
No, you,
Like,
can't, you
there's
can never
only
go wrong
one
with Skrillex.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we just signed a record last week to Good Vibration.
oh, fun.
So we're coming
Yeah.
back to Good
Ooh, that's
Vibration
exciting.
with this record again.
Awesome.
So we're excited about that. We have some more stuff coming out with Deadbeats early next
Some
year.
collabs.
We have some collabs that we're starting working.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How exciting. Well,
Yeah, very
Tommy,
exciting.
Daniel, thank you guys so much for coming on
Thank
today.
you. That
so
was
happy
awesome.
to learn about the Riot Project. And I want to link the documentary and everything so people can check it out after they listen
Awesome.
to the podcast.
Awesome.
All right.
for
Thank you
having
guys.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Bye.
having us. Peace.